So you said about 6 months?
Yeah, I think it must be 6 months.
So your hair must grow quite fast if it's gone quite curly, right? So all the straggly bits are cut off?
Yeah, they're all cut off.
All cut off,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
And this isn't a perm, this is your natural hair?
Natural hair, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right. Would you want to go as straight as possible today?
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Tell us about Vivo and how it all started.
It was literally came about by complete accident, really. We had just sold our previous business, my business partner and I, and we were trying to work out what to do next. Our previous business was in the optical field, so optometry practices.
That's right.
And actually we were in Singapore together, and we came across a Sephora store, which was before Sephora was in New Zealand, and it was a pretty amazing store. And that one had a combined hair salon, which was called Blow, I think it was called.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a Sephora beauty and hair kind of mega store, essentially.
Right.
And we just thought, wow, this is amazing. There's nothing like this in New Zealand. Fama's was pretty much the only place that was a cosmetic store in New Zealand at that time. So we were interested to see whether there was a model we could put together to be like a hair and beauty one-stop shop. And so we bought these two little beauty salons, one in Albany actually, and one in Meadowbank, to try and see what the market was like, to understand. We thought the best way to understand the market was to be part of it.
Right.
So we bought these little beauty salons, and we realised pretty quickly that it wasn't a model that would work in New Zealand. We just couldn't get the big brands because they didn't want to upset farmers. But one of the beauty salons had a single hairdressing chair in the corner and no hairdresser. And so I started thinking, I wonder what this hairdressing part of the business was like. And then a hairdressing salon came up for sale. So again, we thought, well, let's buy it to understand the industry. And we bought it, and it was just blew our minds how exciting and the potential for the industry. The journey started with one station and one in the corner of a beauty salon.
And so where was the first Vivo that opened, officially opened?
So the first hair salon was in St Heliers.
Right.
So it was a salon that used to be called, I think, Scissors or something like that, and in the village in St Heliers. And so we rebranded it to Vivo, and and that was the first of 85.
Amazing.
Yeah.
85. I thought it was, I think this morning I was like, at one point it was like 50 something stores. And, But 85, that is insane.
I think we got to like 87 or 88, but we were always like opening and merging, and so that was the most,
Tell us about how Vivo expanded.
Yeah, so when we'd bought our first hair salon, we realised how exciting the industry was, and one of the key things was how we noticed that our clients viewed hair as must-have, whereas beauty services, for example, were kind of nice to have.
Yeah.
And so it was a very different mindset, where the clients were very much the hairdressing and getting a great haircut and great hair colour was everything to them. And that made us really excited to think, well, where could this industry go? And I think the thing that surprised us was that a lot of hairdressers didn't view themselves as professionals. And yet it's such a technical profession, and hairdressing is such a difficult profession to be good at, that there's a lot of a lack of confidence, I guess. And we'd come from an industry which was optometry, and to be an optometrist you had to stay continuously educated to maintain your practicing certificate. And we saw that hairdressing was such a technical industry that training and development and ongoing training and development was so vital, and yet it was so hard for hairdressers to access that. And so that was kind of the main drive behind our expansion, was thinking, well, what we could bring to New Zealand would be a more professional structure where hairdressers could expand their knowledge, continue their education, and be in an environment that really encouraged learning. And that's kind of what fueled our expansion. That's how we managed to attract great stylists and then eventually salon owners who wanted to be part of the journey with us. So probably about half of the salons we bought, the owners carried on as employees.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which was really exciting. And part of that was because they actually made more money as employees than they were making as business owners.
So a win-win for them, because they get to keep doing what they love.
Yes.
But also take a whole lot of pressure off of them.
That's right.
As owners, but still be in their environment with their clients.
You still hear hairdressers who say, I'm just a hairdresser. And
yeah.
As a non-hairdresser, it blows my mind because I look at, cutting and colouring and to me it's just mystical magic, because the transformations that you see people create.
Absolutely.
It just blows your mind.
Did you ever for a second just go, we need to slow down, or do you feel like you guys were really satisfied with how fast Vivo grew as a brand?
Yeah, I think we always had goals to grow.
Yeah.
And, our biggest year, I think we added something like 35 salons in a single year. And that was pretty crazy. And but yeah, I think it's a personality type thing. I love the challenge of all that sort of thing, and I love the excitement of moving fast. I've always, I guess, backed myself to figure out, I'll work out how to overcome that challenge, and so I'm not being scared to take the step, if that makes sense. So, I think in hindsight, there were times we grew too fast, but we worked it out.
So at what point did you feel like you were ready for a change, that it was time to move on from Vivo, and what drove you to make that change?
That's a good question. The story I always tell is that when I first started in this industry, I used to interview hairdressers, even though I didn't really know anything about hairdressing. I knew people.
Yeah.
And I'd always ask hairdressers, like, why do you do what you do? And almost universally, from the great hairdressers that we hired, I'd get this answer that I just love that feeling when you take someone and you transform them in your chair and you just see them glow, and then they walk out having been transformed, and it really affects their confidence, and that's why they did what they did. And I was pretty cynical back in the day, so I used to think that was just a bullshit interview answer, that no one actually believed that. But the more I got into the industry, the more I realized that's actually why people are hairdressers, is because they love that feeling of making someone feel good.
Yeah.
And so for me, the idea that I'm working in an industry where my team are waking up every day looking for ways to make people feel amazing, it's pretty rare to find a role that does that. And so I love the industry. I guess where I decided that it was time for a different approach and a different journey was when you start feeling like the direction you want to take things and the focus that you want to put on things is perhaps different. And when you have a business partner, there's an overall business strategy and structure, and sometimes it doesn't give you the freedom to go in the direction that you want. And I'd been in business with my business partner for a long time, and sometimes it's a bit like a marriage where you either grow together or you grow apart. And what we wanted for the future and the direction changed. Life was in different directions, and so it was time to move on and do my own thing. But having said that, I'm so incredibly proud of having created Vivo and the team that we created together and the people that were a part of the journey. So it was a very challenging decision to make.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm assuming it didn't just happen.
No, it took a couple of years to sort of get to the point where it was time to move forward.
So you've stayed in the industry with Behind the Brand.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about that? What's your vision and what you're hoping to bring to the market?
Yeah, so we, absolutely, still part of the hair industry, which we're very excited to be involved with. So Therese, my wife, and I, we bought a small import distribution business a couple of months ago. And I guess our vision in creating Behind the Brand is I guess the experience that we had creating Vivo over the years, taking it from a single station to 85 salons around the country, what we realized was that there are some real fundamental truths that apply in every step in that journey, whether it's whether you're a stylist with one station or whether you're a salon owner or a multi-salon owner.
Yeah.
There are some approaches and mindsets and knowledge that is needed that can help you to be successful at every step. And we feel like because we've been there in every step and seen the struggle and made some of the mistakes and learnt from our experiences, that we wanted to share that and try and help other people to enjoy the success that they want for their lives, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And so behind the brand is kind of a combination of things. It's a salon growth agency, I guess you'd say. So our focus is on helping stylists and salons to achieve what they want to achieve, and that could be work-life balance, it could be a certain level of income, it could be growth plans, whatever they want to achieve. We support them with different strategies and tactics and really are there beside them and behind them, supporting their success. And a big part of that is colour. We worked at the highest levels with the big brands, and we saw behind the veil of what that means. And what we realized is that in the past you kind of almost needed a big brand to ensure quality, to know that it was a quality product. But the world has changed now, and sometimes big brand just means big marketing budget that you're helping to pay for.
Sure.
And so what we were able to do was partner with an amazing Italian company called Professional by Fama, and we really love their ethics and values, and most importantly, we just love that their product delivers big brand range of colours and products and big brand experience in terms of the performance, but we're able to deliver it in a way that's way more cost effective. Compared to some of the big brands, we're up to 45% cheaper per colour application, which means more profit stays in the pocket of the salon and the stylist, where it belongs to fund their life and their growth. Professional by Fama, if I take it back to the basics, they have two focuses. One is that they want a colour that colour technicians can get exceptional performance from, so it has to be amazing performance,
right?
But then it has to be healthy, so that's the other side. So it has to be healthy for scalps and for skin and for hairdressers, in terms of lungs and inhalation. So those are the two things that their products really focus on. Does it deliver great performance, and does it do it in a way that's healthy and sustainable? So so it's a pretty cool mindset. We really resonated with that philosophy. I guess for us, because we aren't hairdressers, it's kind of given us a relatively unique perspective on the hairdressing industry, and I guess in terms of where wins can be made that are perhaps thinking about the industry in a different way than being behind the chair.
From experience, I would say clients come in wanting results. They do ask questions around ingredients. With Nanoplasty in particular, they ask questions about how it works, but I don't think I've ever heard any clients say, what brand are you using? Would you say it's the same with colour, that clients just want results?
I think maybe 20 years ago, clients cared about results, the brand, and would go to a Weller salon or a Redken salon because they'd seen the marketing and they'd heard of that range. But I think that's very much changed, like you said. I think people care now about, am I going to get the outcome that I want, and is it done in a way that is using ingredients that are safe and healthy and verifiable. And I think those are the more important drivers, and what the label is much less important these days. And that's definitely my experience as well.
Yeah. Okay, so if you owned a salon today, what would you be looking for from a supplier, in terms of choosing the right brand, other than the price tag, of course? Like what are some of the things that you would look for if you're choosing the right brand?
Like, price is obviously important, but I think beyond that, what you want is a local supplier, because you know, a lot of businesses these days are based offshore and sell their products into New Zealand. And I think that distance from a supplier, the further you are, the less they're going to know New Zealand, the less they're going to know your business, and the less they're going to care as well. So, you know, you need a supplier that actually wants to support your success, not just sell you products essentially. And that's, you know, that's really, really important is can you get access to information, can you get access to education, can you pick up a phone and call someone and talk to a person who you know, can make a decision and really do the right thing for you. Those things are, I think, the most important things to look for.
You're so spot on, because what I've noticed since supplying nanoplasty to hairdressers is appreciation that I get from just answering a call and just on the spot helping someone.
Yes.
And just that personal interaction is huge.
I mean, we're in a digital age, right? And there's AI and all these things, but human connection and human relationships are more important than ever. And and just being able to reach out and know that someone's going to take your call, I think is so vital.
Just going to process your hair now for an hour. Sometimes we're booking out 4 to maybe 6 hours to do a nanoplasty.
Right. Yeah.
And so when we get a no-show or a late cancellation, it's a huge cost to the salon. And how did you manage that at Vivo? I mean, I would assume with 85 stores at one point?
85 stores,
it would have been like a daily occurrence, right?
Yeah, look, I think cancellations and no-shows are a huge problem for the industry. You know, you see it, especially winter, cold and flu season. It's a massive problem. And like you said, it's a tremendous impact on the salon, because not only are they missing out on the sale that they had booked in, but like you said, there's downtime, they have to pay staff. So my personal philosophy on cancellation fees is that you should have a strong policy that you enforce flexibly. And so what I mean by that is you should have a really firm policy that's really clear and really strongly communicated, saying we have a cancellation policy that's X, Y, and Z. The part that requires a bit of nuance is the implementation of that. Because at the end of the day, you want to keep good, loyal clients.
That's right.
And it's up to you to decide and communicate with your team about what that looks like. So that's my approach is a strong policy, but how you implement it should be flexible.
No, that's a perfect way to put it, like a firm policy, but treating everyone's situation differently.
Look, we've all, you know, had something come up at the last minute or forgotten an appointment. It happens, so you don't want to be punishing people necessarily, but recidivist offenders, obviously, if someone's got a history of that, then probably you should make sure that you take their money before they come in and you know, communicate that with them. Most people understand.
We all get that one tricky client from time to time that might write a negative review. How did you deal with, how did you approach negative feedback? And do you think that the customer is always right, or do you think that there should be a balance?
Yeah, that's a really big question. My approach is always to kill complaints with kindness wherever possible. And to assume in the first instance that if someone's got a complaint, that there's a genuine reason behind it, and try and find that out. As to whether customers are always right, sometimes you can see by the nature of a complaint that when you try and offer a solution or make it right, that's still not enough for that person, and they just really want to be upset. And there are times where people are just trying it on or are angry and lashing out. And in those situations, I think you have to be okay with the fact that you can't help and address it. You can't please everyone. But having said that, I do think good reviews are lifeblood for businesses. So, you know, every business should be seeking actively to get every happy client to review them, to give feedback. I think that's really, really important. And I think the number one thing is not to take complaints personally. And that's really hard, especially as a business owner or as a stylist, because you've put your heart and soul into this and you haven't got it right. So I think the key is to look at a complaint and be honest with yourself and say, what can I learn from this? Is there something I could have done better? Is it something we could have done better? If there is, learn that lesson. Don't beat yourself up. Just learn the lesson and move forward. And if there's nothing that you think you would do differently if that same person came in tomorrow, then you just got to let it wash over you and move forward. So,
what is one piece of advice you would give someone who is wanting to get into the industry or open their own salon that you wish you knew?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things I wish I knew. But one thing that I learned later in the journey was the importance of culture in a business and how vital that is. Because when you clearly communicate your purpose, your values, and why you do what you do and how you do what you do, all other decision making becomes much more simple because it's all dictated by those things. And you can always look at a decision or look at a new staff member and say, do they fit?
Yeah.
Does this decision fit? Is this taking me more towards what we're trying to achieve? Is it done in the way that we do things here? And then it becomes really easy, yes or no.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not communicating that really clearly, life becomes a lot harder. It means you have to manage a lot more interactions between team members and clients and make decisions in a way that is much more complex. So having a great culture, a strongly defined and discussed culture, really makes business much easier. Yeah, and it takes stress away, which is, that's the other thing I'd say is owning a business is intense, it's stressful, it's incredibly rewarding, but it's very easy to burn out if you're not able to focus on the right things. One of the key things to remember is that marketing is just a form of communication. And so some people forget that, whether you send your client a text or whether you send them an email, that's marketing. So you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on fancy social media campaigns to get results. For example, one of the most powerful marketing campaigns I've ever seen in action is just a referral program where a stylist says, look, I'm looking for more clients. Do you know anyone who might be looking for a new hairdresser? And asking your clients for more clients is often the most powerful source of new clients. And the clients that come through that word of mouth referral often are the best quality. They come the most often, they spend the most money, they're the most engaged. And so I'm a big fan of formalizing that process to make sure that every single client is asked for a new client. So that usually takes the form of some sort of program where that client will get like a little reward and the person they refer gets a reward as well. And lots of different types of rewards work. There are different ways you can run that program. But the key is that it has to be proactive. I talk to a lot of stylists who say, oh yeah, my clients do refer their friends, but it's when that client remembers to. Whereas it's about how do you make sure that you ask every single client, who do you know? I want more people like you. And that's a flattering thing to hear, right? Right? And then using social media. Social media is vital. We can't avoid it, sadly. And every video doesn't have to be polished. I think people like to see real, they like to see raw and unedited. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be frequent. It has to be consistent.
You could leave salon owners with one powerful piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, I think what I would say is that hairdressing is both a craft and a business, and the skills required for the business need to be worked on just like the craft of hairdressing. So you can't just expect that perhaps if you're, spent 4 or 5 years learning to become a hairdresser, that suddenly you can wake up and be a business owner and know everything you need to know. So it's being okay with the fact that there are things you don't know, and you don't need to know them yet, but you need to find out the answers, if that makes sense. So if you've got a business, you have to recognize that that's a whole different skill set and work on that just like you worked on your trade to become a hairdresser. And those skills can be learned, just like anything else. So it's not about saying I'm bad at business or I don't know business. Business can be really straightforward. It can be really simple. You just have to get the knowledge and get the skills from people that you trust and that have been there before and done that journey, and that's the easiest way. Otherwise you end up making expensive mistakes, and better to learn from someone who's already made those mistakes and paid the price than to make them yourself. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that hairdressing, you need to learn that specific business approach and understand that it is a business, and therefore that requires different knowledge than you've developed in your career so far, but it doesn't mean you can't develop those skills. Yeah. Impressive. It's impressive.
So what do you think? Do you think nanoplasty is here to stay?
Yeah, undoubtedly.
Yeah. All right.
Nice process too. Like the process is
not
easy,
uncomfortable.
it's pleasant. There's nothing awkward about it. No smells that are horrible. Actually, the opposite. It smells nice. So.
Well, thank you so much, Lynden, for being here today. Thank you for answering our questions and giving us the opportunity to do your hair. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'm in love with my hair. It's fantastic. I know my wife's going to be very happy.
She will be.